once we had gotten up to her memorial and we had gotten past that and had taken a breath, then it was, okay, now's the next jumping off point, which was her property she had in a different state. Going back to Virginia to take care of my mom's house became kind of the next big ordeal we had to deal with. So we had planned a trip. Once my son had gotten out of school for the semester, we were going to go back to Virginia for about a week and a half. But I started to panic a little bit because I had no idea what I was going to do. What do you do with your loved one's house full of their belongings? What was that going to be like for me? Because that's the house I basically grew up in. All through middle school, high school, up until now, that was my home. And that was her home. And she had worked really hard for it. She had gotten caught up with my father claiming bankruptcy when they divorced. And so she didn't think she was going to be able to own her own property because he had taken her down such a financial hole that she's like, how can I do this? And when her friend was looking at property in this neighborhood and she went, a lady had asked my mom, why aren't you looking at one for yourself? And my mom admitted, I'm caught up in bankruptcy thanks to my ex-husband. I don't know if I can do this. And the lady was so sweet and kind and said, you know what? You've got a stable job. Let's look at your credit. Let's look at what we can do. And they made it happen. So my mom ended up with her first home that was all hers. So this place was special. And that's why she never rented it. All the time she was out here in California and going back and forth, she didn't rent it. She didn't want anybody messing it up. It was hers. It was her pride, and something that she worked really hard for. So thinking of going back, and I know I didn't want to rent because I didn't want to have to deal with finding management companies and being bi-coastal. And if anything happened, I couldn't take care of it. And I know there are people that I could have probably gotten on board to help, but it really did seem like more of a headache. So thinking of the fact that I was going to have to sell something that meant so much to her heart was difficult to think about and to have to deal with. And not only that, how was I going to do this? I know there were things she needed done to the house that didn't get quite done before she had come back out here to California and got sick. And if I'm going to sell the house, I wanted it to be exactly how she wanted it to be. So I knew I was going to have to find an agent. I found the most amazing agent in Charlottesville, Virginia. Her name is Sandy Morris. She was a real estate angel. This woman went above and beyond what most people would do in this situation. You can't find people like Sandy. Sandy was like, let me go over and look at it. So I told her the neighbor had the key, go check it out. She did. She said, okay, here's what we're looking at. I'm going to send you comps. She goes, I have a handyman who can take care of the things that need to get taken care of, and we'll take it from there. So she really handled a lot of things for me before we got there. Now, when we got there, she had painters come in and repaint all of the inside. We were trying to get everything done before me, Phil, and Connor arrived. And then my friend Jessica, my best friend that came for the memorial service, was also going to fly in 2 days after we were there and stay for 3 days and help us pack. So when I got to the house, Sandy had painters there, so she had boxed some stuff up, and that was a little bit of a hit because I remembered how my mom's house was. And when I walked in, things were boxed up, things were moved, and it didn't feel like it was her house. Now, looking back on it, that was probably a good thing because I don't know if I would have been able to start if I walked in and everything was still the presence of my mom. Her favorite chair was still in the same place. All her pictures were still on the wall. All of her tchotchkes and little things that she had on tables were still there. I think that would have made it so much more difficult for for me to be in that house. So again, another blessing was Sandy coming in and saying, okay, we kind of put these things away. So when I got there, it was almost like it was her house, but it wasn't her house. So we immediately started like digging into stuff. And again, my mom had purged, so I was thankful for that because there wasn't a whole lot of crazy stuff to go through. She had some drawers filled with some stuff that was kind of junky things that you have that drawer you open up and you throw things in and you just forget about it. And then you look later and you're like, why did I keep this? Why is this in here? And because she had been a nurse in the past, there were all these notepads in every nook and cranny of her house that drug reps would bring in for different drugs. I'm like, oh, hey, here's a birth control pill drug. Oh, hey, here's some other drug. Oh, here's a menopause hot flash. Oh, here's an estrogen, whatever. She had these pads all over the house. And I started collecting them because her memorial service in Virginia was very small. We just did a really nice brunch with some of her friends, my cousin. I think all total, maybe 8 of us were there, which I know is a huge difference from the California one, which was 60 people. But they were nurses and friends that she had worked with that came. And so I took all those pads that I'd saved and took them to the luncheon and basically gave them out as the parting gifts for everybody that came and said, here, just, I'm pretty sure you guys stole a lot of these too, but these are the ones that she stole, just so you know. So it was lovely. And it was another nice day of just remembering my mom and hearing stories from her friends and people she'd worked with. Spending time with my cousin, Bill, Connor, it was nice. It was a really lovely day. And with my friend Jessica being there to help pack up, we take a break every now and then because it is sad when you're packing up someone's life and basically everything that they worked for, that they curated for themselves. So we would take breaks. We would, go into town. We would go downtown. We would go listen to music. We went on a really beautiful hike one day just to get out of the house. But I don't know if I could have gotten through that if Bill and Connor weren't there for support. And basically, Jessica is my warrior. She is my sister from another mister. She came in guns blazing, going, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have this, 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 and this. I'm going to pack up this. We're getting all of this done. And with her and I just organizing everything, we got my mom's house packed up in a week and got it cleaned up, got it ready for Sandy, who, as soon as we were out, she had a photographer come in and take pictures, and it went up on the market. And the day we left to fly back to California was a very somber day because driving away from my mom's house and that cul-de-sac for probably what is the last time.
How many roads you were told to go on forever, and how many times you must lie to keep it together.
You're driving away and you're looking at it in your rearview mirror, and that's exactly what it is. It's just now forever in your rearview mirror. And then you're left with the question of what next.
It goes on, it goes on, it goes on.
Hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell to stay up to date on all new videos.